Hi and welcome to lesson 9, and today I thought it'd be a good idea, seeing as I should think you'll be still working through the new song Satisfaction, that we do a little bit more scale work. Really important to improve your scales, and today we're going to be taking a couple of scales and extending them across all 6 strings, or 2 octaves. If you remember, a few lessons ago I demonstrated the scales which you've been learning, which just lasted over 1 octave. These are going to go over 2 octaves and across all 6 strings, and they're going to be really useful and fun to play in terms of improvising, which we'll be doing in the forthcoming lessons. Now, the scales that we're going to be extending are the A minor natural scale, okay, that's the first octave. We're going to extend that through 2 octaves, like I said. We're going to be extending the E minor pentatonic scale, again to 2 octaves. And then I'm going to add a couple of notes into that scale to give us what we call the blues scale, which will enable you eventually to play licks and solos like the example I made at the beginning of the lesson, the intro there. So that's called a blues scale. It's actually the E minor pentatonic with a couple of additional notes added in, and it's going to be played like this. So I think we'll start with the E minor pentatonic because it is the easiest scale to navigate, because there's less notes. So we'll begin with that and extending it across the 3 strings and across the 2 octaves. Okay, I'll explain the scale in full. Obviously, we don't need to spend too much time on the first octave because you've hopefully been practicing that over the previous weeks. So here we go. Nice and steady first of all. So obviously open E. That takes us to the first octave. Then we're going to go to the open 3rd string G, 2nd finger, 2nd fret, 3rd string A, open 2nd string, 3rd finger, 3rd fret, 2nd string, open 1st string, which is actually the octave. We're going to extend it slightly and play the 3rd fret on that top string. So it's the scale's actually extended a bit higher just because that's how we use it when we're putting it into practice. The actual 2nd octave is there at the E. We're extending it a bit higher. Then we're coming back down back to the open E. 3rd fret, 2nd string D, open 2nd string B, 2nd fret, 3rd string A, open 3rd string G, back to that middle octave there, that's 2nd fret, 4th string E, and then back down through that 2nd octave. Okay, and that's your E minor pentatonic. The notes I'm going to add in now are what we call the blues notes. They're not actually official notes of the scale, they're what we call passive notes or chromatic notes, which are kind of like filler notes in between the two notes of the scale. So the extra note I'm going to add in is the 1st fret on that 5th string. So again, across the 1st octave, we're going to go like this. Open E, 3rd fret, G, open 5th string A, then see your 1st fret on that 5th string with your 1st finger, then to the 2nd on that same string, open 4th string, then to the 1st octave, 2nd fret E, then we're going to go to the open 3rd string G, 2nd fret A, then the next blues note is next door to that at the 3rd fret, which is an A sharp or B flat. So the open 2nd string, 3rd fret 2nd string, open top string, and then 3rd fret again. Coming back down, 3rd fret 1st string, open 1st string, 3rd fret 2nd string, open 2nd string, 3rd fret 3rd string to 2nd fret to the open, 2nd fret 4th string, open 4th string, 2nd fret 5th string, then 1st fret 5th string with the blues note to the open 5th string, 3rd fret 6th string, finish off where we started on the open E. And that's your E minor pentatonic and your E blues. Okay, and the 3rd scale is the A minor natural scale, which again we're going to extend across to octaves. Okay, so the 1st octave we'll take it as red because you've been practicing that. Okay, so over the 2nd octave, we go to the 2nd string open, B. 1st finger, 1st fret, C. 3rd finger, 3rd fret, D. Open 1st string, E. 1st finger, 1st fret, F. 3rd fret, 1st string, G. And then we're stretching up to the 5th fret on that string, which you can either play with your little finger, pinky, or you can slide up with your 3rd finger. Then back down, 3rd fret, G. 1st fret, F. Open E. 3rd fret, 2nd string, D. 1st fret, 2nd string, C. Open B. And then 3rd string, 2nd fret, A. And then back down as we've been doing. Okay, that's your A minor natural. And just to finish off on the A minor natural scale, a few people have been asking me, why is it called an A minor natural? Why is it not just called an A minor? And the simple answer is that there's quite a few different minor scales. So it has a particular specific name. So this is the A minor natural. We have scales called the A minor harmonic, A minor melodic minor, or A melodic minor, should I say. So we've got lots of different minor scales, so that's why it is so called. I'll go up and down it one more time. Remember, when you're playing those new scales, make sure you stick to the exact fingering as I've been playing them there. Okay, as ever, take those new scales nice and slow. Aim for clarity and smoothness across all 6 strings, and then I'll be showing you in future lessons, when you've got to grips with those, how to speed them up. And ultimately then we're going to be, in later lessons, we're going to be looking at how to improvise and create little solos and licks. Really fun thing to do. Can't really do it with the single octave scales. Well, we can, but it's a lot more going over all 6 strings gives us a lot more scope for playing and improvising. So really enjoyable. Get used to those scales nice and slowly, and then we'll be speeding them up in the forthcoming lessons. Okay, so just leading on from last week's lesson, and I said I was going to just break down the strumming pattern to the chorus on Satisfaction, just so you can see it in a little bit of a slower tempo. I did play it its full tempo at the end of last lesson, but let's just quickly just break it down a little bit, and then I'll demonstrate it with the metronome to explain how you're going to count it. So here it goes. Okay, so it's not too complicated, and it is pretty much the same all the way through that chorus. And all we're going to do is count it 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and enter the A, same 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and so I'm going to play it down through with the metronome now. At a slower tempo, it's important to keep it to a steady tempo first of all, and then gradually speed that up. So I'm going to set the metronome here at 80 beats per minute, so you can hear how it's counted. There we go. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 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 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and there we go. So practice at a nice steady tempo, and then if you can work it up to the speed of the track. I'd like you to wherever possible, try and get your playing up to the speed of the actual track itself. That's the like benchmark to let you know you're playing it well. If you can keep up with the changes particularly fast as well, if you can keep up, then you know you're on the right lines. And if you don't quite get all the way through the song, don't worry. It will be, with practice, that'll become more consistent. But it is important at some point to get you playing up to speed with the track. Now, for the second half of this week's lesson, I'm going to be showing you how the notes progress up along the neck of the guitar. And I'm going to be demonstrating that using the bottom E string. Now, we all know through the tuning method which note each string is tuned to, and then it's kind of important, therefore, then to have an understanding of how the notes progress up the guitar neck. I'm not expecting you to memorise these straight away, but in the coming months and years of your playing career, you will need to eventually memorise them. And to start with, it's important to memorise the notes on the bottom E string, or at least certain notes on the bottom E string, because that's basically where our future scales and chords are rooted. So I'm going to use that as an example today, and then you're going to have also a map of the fretboard available as a document, so you can use it for reference in the coming weeks. Now, we know that's an E, and as the notes ascend up the neck, they ascend in alphabetical order. Okay, the highest note in the musical alphabet is G, and once we go past G, the notes then start again at A. So I'll quickly go through each note as it's positioned there on the guitar neck, and obviously you can replay this and go through it as many times as you want to understand how the notes are placed. Now, first fret note, if you place your first finger at the first fret, that's now an F. And for certain positions on the guitar, we're going to be following the dots there. So we start on the first fret F, the next dot is a G. Like I said, G is the highest note that we have in the musical alphabet. So the fifth fret is an A, and then the next dot is B. I'm just going to pause there for 1 second. Okay, so F, G, A, and B. And those are what we call the natural notes. F, G, A, and B. But you'll notice in between we've got frets or notes as well. And those are what we call the sharps and flats. And the sharps and flats are the equivalent to the black keys on a keyboard. So the natural notes, the F, G, A, and B would represent the white notes. And the notes in between, the sharps and the flats, are the black notes. Right, just before we go on to those notes in between then, I should also point out that the distance from F to G and G to A and A to B is called a tone or a full step in musical terms. Okay, the distance from F to G, 2-fret distance, is a tone or a full step. Now the notes in between, the sharps and the flats, if I start once again at the F, place my first finger at the first fret, and if I raise that F by 1 fret to the 2nd fret, that is now an F sharp. And the distance from F to F sharp is called a semitone or a half step. Okay, so if I raise the note by a semitone or a half step, that becomes a sharp, an F sharp. But alternatively, if I'm coming in the opposite direction from G, and I'll lower my G by a semitone, that can also be called a G flat. So the notes in between there, the sharps and the flats, the black notes, equivalent to the piano keyboard, can be called an F sharp if I'm raising the F by a semitone, or a G flat if I'm going the opposite way and lowering the G by a semitone. Likewise, if I move from G to the next fret there, semitone, that's a G sharp, but it can also be called an A flat. Similarly, A to A sharp, B to B flat. Now there are some exceptions to the rule in the Western musical spectrum, which is why I paused at B, because there's a slight difference now. Now from B, there is no B sharp or C flat. We go straight from B to C. So no B sharp or C flat. And if you look on the piano keyboard there, which a picture will be coming up, there are some white notes where there isn't a sharp or flat in between. And that's one of those is B to C. So straight from B to C. Then we carry on C sharp to D, or back down, D flats in the middle there. So C sharp, C to C sharp or D flat, D to D sharp. And then where the double dot is on your guitar is the octave. That's another E. So we're back at E, albeit the higher octave. Okay, so here we go. So the full spectrum of notes on your low E string will go like this. So open E, F, F sharp or G flat, G, G sharp or A flat, A sharp or B flat, B, C, C sharp or D flat, D, D sharp or E flat to E. And the other exception to the rule is with the sharps and flats is that there's no E sharp or F flat. So if you notice there, I went straight from the open E to the next note, which is F. So once again, no E sharp or F flat in the Western musical spectrum. Now, the other main thing to point out regarding the notes on your fretboard is that a lot of notes repeat many times at different parts of the neck. So for example, if I place my finger at the 5th fret, which is an A, I could demonstrate that that's the same note as the open 5th string A. So therefore, the notes on the A string progress in exactly the same way, but except from A. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E to F, F sharp, G, and finish back at A at the octave. And that's the same for all the strings. So the 5th fret on the A string is the same as the open D, and consequently the notes progress in exactly the same way. So the sequence of notes always stays the same, as I've demonstrated on the bottom E string. It's just starting at a different note position depending on which string it's tuned to. And like I said, it's not important to memorise those notes yet. You've got a perfectly good document there for referencing where your positions are. So that knowledge of your notes on your fretboard are going to be used in the coming weeks, particularly in next week when we look at a type of chord called a power chord, which is basically a 2-finger chord that can be moved at different positions on the guitar neck. And the name of that chord is dependent on where your first finger is positioned on that string, which gives it what we call the root note. So I'm going to be talking a lot about that in the coming weeks. But like I said, hopefully that gives you a good grounding of knowledge for how your notes progress. And indeed, we can actually tune your guitar by ear by checking across those repeated notes. So 5th fret, same as the A. 5th string, D, same as the open D. 5th string, G, same as the open G. Slight difference in positioning on the 3rd string there, which is a B. Same as your open B, we have to come across onto the 4th fret there. And then back onto the 5th fret. E, same as the 1st string open. So that's another way of checking your tuning as well, that those notes are all the same. Okay, well that's all for this week. Practice schedule for this week, therefore, should begin with your scales, as always. Introduce those new scales, nice and steady, nice and slow, aim for clarity and smoothness where you can, and then, like I said, we'll be speeding them up in the coming weeks. Then you've got satisfaction to be working through with the riff and your chord changes there. And also, I'd like you to recap on the C and G chord sequences that we looked at last week in preparation for the coming song that we're going to be beginning next week. Have a great week. I look forward to seeing you next week.